Okay, we're getting started on what I guess we're gonna deem the old 340 project. Not too unlike the 318, just a little bigger CCs there. We're gonna get this one stuck in the other go-kart frame. This is a motor that my father had when I told him what I wanted to do. This is the first motor he gave me. He told me this was his 340 racing motor that he raced when they raced snowmobiles, and single-cylinder 340s was the way to go. But got to make a few improvements here. It needs electric start. Didn't have no electric start in it. So over here I managed to acquire a cover, an electric start cover. It's going to help out a lot. See, that one's got a hole there that the starter goes in, and the old original one doesn't. So far so good. We got a little bit of an interference problem right here at this web. That one kind of bumps back, and this one doesn't. So this one's running into the port. We're just going to cut that right off and not let that bother us at all. But other than that, it looks like it's going pretty good. Got to do a little work on the magneto here because we got to get a ring gear on the fan of the old 340. We may just change the entire ignition system when we're in there. Got to take a good look at that and make sure all the timing is going to come out correctly with the crankshaft. But I can't believe it won't. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. But we'll get them to take a look at it and see what happens. Alright. Well, it looks like the ignition upgrade's going pretty good. We took out the old 40-watt system and put in the 75-watt system, so we'll have a little better spark than what she originally had. Boy, I run into a little something funny here on this crankshaft. I'm not sure what's going on here, but if you take a good look here, you'll see that there are two keys in that shaft. One's a pretty big one. It's not the one we were using, and the other one is a standard Ski Doo Rotax, I should say, size keyway. I don't know what's going on here. The actual flywheel, somebody welded up where that big key was and did a real nice machining job and a broaching job and putting the new keyway in off a little bit. Even if the bigger keyway was the original correct one, man, things wouldn't come out right. The magneto, unless we use the flywheel that was originally on it. And again, it's just baffling to me because all of these seem to be the same. All the Ski Doo single cylinders ran the same basic crankshaft and flywheel. So I don't know, we're not going to let that bother us. I checked all the timing out and it all looks good, so we're going to keep right on trucking and hope that's just one of Leland's modifications to more horsepower. Alright. Yeah, a little update on the old 340 project, and we're moving along great. That internet, man, that's really something. I want you to know. I thought I'd have trouble finding a lot of these pieces, and quite honestly, it hasn't been too big a deal. We got our ignition in. The 75-watt ignition went in, and everything timed out. We got her set now. We're ready to button her up. We wasn't really sure where to set it as far as the piston is concerned, but we just shot for the middle. It's pretty much just a matter of changing the compression. I don't want too high a compression personally. I don't want to have to run premium if I can get away from it. There's our clutches. Got the roller type that I was after there. It's a round shaft. I'd rather have a square shaft, but we'll get by with a round for now until we come across the square. It's out there, I'm sure of that. And look what I found here. So everybody that was on the look for that 640 Nordic chain case, you can stop. We done found her. $100 later, it looks like we might have reverse. Man, it's going to be a little different than the other cart. I think I may end up utilizing the entire chain case instead of butchering it up and going to gears like I did the other one, but we'll see when we get into her a little farther. But motor's coming along. We're about ready to drag the frame in here and start sizing that chain case up. Alright. Man, I kind of thought this transmission was going to be a little tough, but never expected to run into this problem. Actually, I went through all the gear ratios and so forth, and she looks pretty good. It's going to be geared right where I want it, and I can use the whole transmission, the whole chain case, and everything should work pretty well. But here's the problem I've run into. I got to take this big round deal here. It's actually half of the pulley, one of the halves that the belt rides on, and it's got to come unscrewed from this gear-like looking thing here with all the teeth on it. There's a spot in between the two of them where it unscrews, and my problem is I got to get at the bearing that's in the center, in between them, in that housing. So we rummaged and looked and found a manual, shop manual online that told me that these definitely unscrew and which direction they unscrew and everything, but wow, is it on tight. So I made a special little tool. I'll show you that. This is really a lesson in engineering. So I made a little tool, and what it does is right here on this end of the shaft, you can see it's got a hole in it. There's a hole right there. Oops. Goes all the way through. You can see the light coming through there. Okay. So I used that hole, and I made my special little tool. It fits right over that. I had a pin that goes through the hole. Yeah, that's not the right one, but you have to take my word for it. I have a pin that went through that hole and went through the hole in my tool here. Well, oh, there it is. A quick shot of that. So here's what happened. The pin goes through the hole. She kind of ate her out a little bit. And what it takes to do this is, for all you auto mechanic guys, is a 3/4 inch impact. Man, we were walloping her. See, I put me a hex on this end of it and put a socket on there. Made that socket fit pretty tight. Had to tap it on. But, so I guess the lesson in engineering here is, whatever size your pin is, let's say we got this pin, let's 249, let's call it 250, that's 1/4 inch. That means that your thickness here, on whatever it is you're making, needs to be 1.5 times that. So if this is 250, or 1/4 inch, we need to go out to 3/8, or 375, so we should be somewhere out here. So that thing should be about that thick, according to the engineering side of things. It's usually a little more than you need. You can usually get away with the size of the pin. But anyways, you can see that mine, a little thin. The reason, that's the reason for why this has happened. So, just a little engineering note there. When you go to make a tool, follow what them engineers tell you, or you're going to wind up with your tool looking like this. When the cat's away, the mice will play. No snowmobiles were harmed during the making of this video. Dismantled maybe, but not harmed. I didn't want we think we was falling down on the old 340 project. We got a lot of parts around. About time to start doing a little machining. Pretty good pile on the floor here. Pretty sure we got just about everything except maybe the chain itself. Got to get a measurement on that. Got to put her together before we can do that. We got our torque converter. Managed to match up our spline there. That came out real nice. That little gear there, you can see the spline inside there. That's going to fit on the torque converter. Goes right on the end of that shaft. So that takes care of that. And that big chunk of steel that you see sitting there with the gears laying on it. Then we're going to make up the actual gear case itself. I'll hollow that all out and put the bearings and so forth in there. The round rod there, that's the shaft. That's going to make the center shaft. It's going to run through there and actually attach to the small sprocket right here. There's the hub for the sprocket. Boy, that tractor place in Chelsea, they got one heck of a selection of sprockets there, boy. Can't say enough good things about them. There's a clutch. Oh, cheap Charlie, he was going to pinch a penny on that, and he pinched a penny all right. Got her probably about 40 bucks cheaper than what you'd pay for it all, but wow. Buying the individual pieces and things wasn't exactly right. There's going to be some machining involved with that, and cheap Charlie probably should have just bit the bullet on that one. But anyway, them are the pieces we got, so them are the pieces we're going to try to make work. But that's where we're at. Man, I see this big chunk of metal getting whittled out here within the next week or so. So we should have the carriage in here in no time and start assembling this thing. All right. Okay, we're going to give this narration thing here a whirl. This is me milling the pocket out on the transmission case with 2 holes in it. In the right spot so the cover will fit properly. The old drill swapped out here and put the tap in her. Boy, this first hole, I don't know how close I come to snapping that tap off down in the bottom of that hole. Can't hear it, but as she was going down in, I heard her crunch, and when I seen that thing stop and start spinning in the chuck, boy, I thought it was all over. But come back up out of there, and we got the little chip up out of there, but had me nervous there for a minute. Here we then flip the block over, and this is the other side, knowing that little stand off the proper height. That's the side that the spark converter's on. Get her all indicated in so the bearings are good and square with one another. There's 2 bearings in there. And then we'll take a bore cut and get this other side out to size for the bearing in the race. Or the bearing in the seal, I should say. I really can't see her cutting there, but she's taking out about 1 thou on that there. way to cut your finger right there. That's how machinists wind up with little cuts on their fingers all the time. That thing there that looks like elephant skin is our finished product. There we go. Got the torque converter mounted in it. Boy, she slipped together nice. Fell right together. See, I'll give her a spin here. No grabbing or binding. The other gear in there, that's where that's going to sit. Our next project is making the shaft that holds that gear in place. Still turns. Got the old disc brake there. We're going to try to make use of that. Kind of like the stabilizer bar on the back of this torque converter. I wish my first one would have had that, but alright, transmission's about ready to go. Okay, coming up on the final phase here. At least I hope it's the final phase. Here's our carriage for our motor. Got our transmission done, ready to go. Gotta put a keyway in it yet, but not a big deal. Gotta get this motor out of here. Here's that transmission. That's, like I said, pretty much completed. Spins nice, went together nice. Motor is going in, clutch. There's our reverse. That's not out of the picture. This ain't gonna be running this year, but we ain't giving up on her by any means. Alright. Yeah, the motor's out. Not too big a project. Got the axle part getting ready to fit our new sprocket. We're going to move over. You can see the old sprocket right there. We're going to move up to where this disc brake is and put the sprocket there. Yeah, here we are getting the sprocket around. Some tapped holes in her and pour the center out. Little setup here of how things are going to look. Had to go to a custom belt. I really was hoping I could run the same belt on both machines, but doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. John Deere Gator runs this belt, so it's a reasonably common belt. It won't be hard to get. So we'll just keep trucking forward with our John Deere belt. Finished product ought to look a whole lot like this. It's lined up, welded in where they belong for all the mounts. Tedious job. Out of putting stuff together and taking it apart, and putting it together and taking it apart. No issues on the last one though, so we're gonna follow the same procedure. Okay. The old transmission's locked down. Got her welded in. Everything's straight and square, man. Should come out nice. Real nice. Got everything within about 10-15 thousandths. Straight and square with the axle. Okay. Okay, here she is. Everything mounted, everything solid. One good shot here before we try to fire this motor up. Remember, we got our new ignition in that. Don't anticipate any problem there, but you never know. So we'll get things squared around here and put a little fuel and battery to it. See if we can't get this monster fired up. Okay, moment of truth, so to speak, is upon us. We'll fire up, like I say, it was the first time, but it's not the second time. Fired up so fast and easy the first time that it kind of caught me by surprise. I really wasn't expecting it to start that easy, but it did. So we're gonna fire it up here for you one time and top this little video off. Okay, she's talking, so we'll keep moving forward, get that go-kart frame up here and start putting this monster together. Yeah, we got her in there. Like to say it went off without a hitch, but it didn't. Motor was starting and running okay on a shot of fuel in the carb, but had to put a carb kit in her, new needle and seat. Doesn't surprise me none. Motor that's set for probably near as we can figure 40 years. Might need a new gasket kit. We had another little problem here. Flooded the motor pretty bad before I changed the needle, and I started spewing gas out of a spot right here. This is the intake port. Comes up out of the crankcase into the cylinder. Apparently at one time a clutch had come apart or done something, I don't know what, but it ate a hole in the side of that port. I didn't think it would hurt. It had hurt anything, but there was a hole there, and we were spewing gas out of that. Did a little JB weld on that. Maybe later we'll give that a real live aluminum weld, but we'll start this thing up. See if we can get her to purr for you. Had it running just a minute ago. Okay, we're going to put the clutch on her and see how that works out. Okay, we got that hybrid clutch on. A little bit of both worlds. Had to go that route to make her fit that older 73 motor. But let's start that up and see what happens. Okay, let's put the belt on her. Okay, we got that belt on. Zoom in, there she is. All in place. All the action's going to be happening right there at the sprocket. Okay, well, I guess that worked all right. Time to make a chain. Okay, we got her up in the air a little bit, and we'll fire her up, see how them tires turn. Guess it's time to sit her on the ground and see what she'll do.